So welcome to our God's Optimal Nutritional Plan. We'll be talking about nutrition, and we'll be going through the most important nutritional change that you can make, and also the best diet, or I can even say a lifestyle plan that you can follow that will help to extend your health. Now, for those who are joining us, again, I want to just remind you that you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll be posting regularly videos just like this, where we go into longevity, lifestyle changes, and also natural remedies that can help you to reverse your common ailments. So this channel is all about, natural remedies, teaching about natural health and therapies and so forth. So if that's something that you're into, just feel free to subscribe and to also like this video if this video will provide some value to you. We have a power pack presentation for you today, and we'll be getting right into our presentation for this morning. So this morning we're talking about the optimal nutritional plan that we can follow. So that optimal nutritional plan, and we'll be going into some of the nitty-gritties of what we should be eating and why that is so important for us today. Now, one of the things I want to start off with is there is a study called the Adventist Health Study, and that health study is a study of 96,000 Adventists living in the United States and Canada, and they fill out a 50-page diet and lifestyle questionnaire, and they update it every 2 years, where they talked about the hospitalizations, the diagnosis of cancer, stroke, heart attack, and diabetes, and different types of diseases, right? Also, this survey surveyed people, and they asked them about the diets that they had, and they put them into different groups and categories, right? So 8% of those who fill out this questionnaire were vegans. 28% were lacto-ovo vegetarian, 10% were pesco-vegetarian, 6% were semi-vegetarian, and 48% were non-vegetarians. Now, the reason why this group of people, the Adventists, are important when it comes to studying them out is because they live 10 years longer than the average American. So then what you want to do here is to see whether or not it's just they obey the Sabbath, if that's the case, if it's just a Sabbath, or if it's just no smoking and alcohol, because the religion, Adventist, is no smoking or alcohol, or you want to see different things that could affect just the lifestyle. So all these groups you would see here, if they don't smoke or drink alcohol, and majority of them follow these guidelines, but then now you separate them based upon diets to see if the diet led to a decreased risk of diabetes, cancer, blood pressure, and so forth. So we want to see some of these things right here from this study as they follow these people for a period of years. Now, the results show that eating a plant-based diet incrementally lowers one's risk of high blood pressure, obesity, and diabetes. Now, Adventist vegetarians in California with a 100% meat-free diet enjoy an even higher life expectancy of 87 for men and nearly 90 for women when they abstain from smoking and exercise regularly. So this is about 10 to 14 years longer than the life expectancy of the general population. So that's Adventists who live in Loma Linda, California, with a 100% meat-free diet. That means they had no meat in their diet whatsoever. They lived 10 to 14 years longer than the general population. And that is very staggering because there are so many diets out there. There is the ketogenic diet, there is this Atkins diet, there is this alkaline diet, and there's all these types of varying diets. And for us to see something that you just modify your lifestyle or modify your behavior by going on a 100% meat-free diet and extending your life to 10 to 14 years longer, that is astounding. Because now we see in our society that people are beginning to die from many of the diseases and lifestyle diseases, and the numbers are only increasing every single year. Now, the Adventists in this study, for those who were on a vegan diet, they were the only group that had a BMI that was in the normal range, on average had a BMI below overweight. Okay, so now BMI is a body mass index. It's a measurement to show if someone is overweight or obese, and it is accurate, I would say, for about 90-95% of the population. If you have muscle mass, a lot of muscle mass, that might skew your numbers because muscle is heavier than fat, so it might show you being overweight when it's just muscle, right? You can look at your body, your fat, your body fat percentage, and you can know how much fat you have in your body. And for those who are muscles, that is just an exception. But the exception is not the rule, right? For majority of you, BMI is accurate. And those who were on a lacto-ovo diet, that means they included eggs and dairy into the diet, but no meat. They were overweight on average. You see the top red line here in this chart. This is the overweight line. So on average, they were overweight. Pesco-vegetarian, those who ate dairy and also fish, they were overweight as well. And semi-vegetarians, those who ate meat less than once per week, they were also overweight. And then we see the non-vegetarians had the highest BMI on average. So then this here just shows us the difference between the diets, and you see it's like increases gradually. Okay, so then the vegan diet was the only one that had a BMI that wasn't overweight. And I think a lot of people, they think in some cultures, they think that being overweight is healthy or better. And there are some cultures, I can talk for myself because I am West Indian, and as a West Indian, some people, when they see that you lose weight, they think that you're sick. But then, time and time again, we show here, and even as we go throughout this class, and many classes in the future, we'll talk about this here, that just being overweight increases your risk of diabetes, high blood pressure, cholesterol, dying from a heart attack, and the list just goes on and on and on. It's having that extra weight on your body puts even more strain on your joints and can lead to joint pain and knee pain and so forth. So it's not something that you want to be proud of, being overweight. So if you don't know your BMI, just go online and search up a BMI calculator and see if you are obese or overweight. Okay, so now the risk of diabetes. We see here that the vegan group had the lowest risk of developing diabetes. Those who included dairy and so forth into the diet, they had almost about 2 times the risk of developing diabetes. Those who were pescatarian, you see the risk goes up and higher each article of animal foods that you included into your diet. So even the non-vegetarian had almost like 5 times the risk of developing diabetes than the vegan 100% meat-free diet. So what we're talking about here is a diet plan that can help to lower your risk of many of those diseases. Okay? And the reason why that is important, it is because we're talking about what type of modifiable lifestyle change that we can apply to our diet that can have an effect on determine whether we come down with a disease or not. Because some people think that disease or health is just about chance. It's just about being lucky. But that's not the case. We can actually make choices that can help us to put ourselves in a situation where we can actually be healthy and not come down with certain diseases. Now, even Psalm 100 verse 3, it says in the Bible, "Know ye that the Lord, He is God. It is He that hath made us, and not we ourselves. We are His people and the sheep of His pasture." And for those who believe in the Bible and for those who believe in God, you understand that God is a creator. And what we're talking about here is a creationist diet. Because when we look at the diet in the beginning in Genesis chapter 1 verse 23, and we look at the diet for man in 2 verse 29, and we see here that the diet that God gave man was a plant-based diet. And after sin, God included vegetables and herbs into the diet as well. So a fully plant-based diet, fruits, grains, nuts, vegetables, was the original diet of man. That is the creation diet. That we believe that God has made us, and God gave us the diet that is best suited for us as human beings. Now, when was meat or animal foods included into the diet? That was included into the diet after the flood. Now, if you are an evolutionist, Then you believe that we were once unintelligent beings, that we came from some monkeys, and that we've evolved over time. We were in caves, and we were hunters, and we just ate largely of meat, and that was our ancestral diet, right, in the beginning. And this is an evolutionist type of mindset where we believe that we ate largely of meat, but the Bible talks about we ate of a plant-based diet. So there are two contrasting diets right here. And now, from the Bible perspective, we know that a plant-based diet, so far we've talked about this, that this is the most optimal diet for us as mankind. But from an evolutionist standpoint, you would think that animals. But now the science is also showing that a plant-based diet is the diet that can help us to live the longest. It's showing time and time again from a scientific standpoint that the Bible is true, okay? But let's go further here. So there are three basic principles of diet reform. In the book Ministry of Healing, it says the diet reform should be progressive, okay? So then you're not gonna start eating the most optimal way right from the get-go. There are things that you will learn over time. Don't overwhelm yourself as you learn some of these principles. Apply what you know, and then the things that you don't know, you will learn over time. I've been on a plant-based diet for, I can't remember how, about 15 years right now. And for me, being on this plant-based diet, what I knew back then and what I know now is totally different. I know much more now. And just take it easy, don't get overwhelmed. Also, in the book Testimonies to the Church, volume 9, it says, we do not mark out any precise line to be followed in diet. So I'm not going to tell you exactly how many nuts to eat. I'm not going to tell you eat 10 nuts and one of this fruit, or only eat this kind of fruit, and that's not what I'm going to do. What we're going to do today is to lay out the principles of healthy eating. And in nature, there's a rainbow of varying types of hundreds of different species of plants that you can eat. Okay, and the third one is I make myself no criterion for anyone else. So I'm not the criteria that you should follow. Okay? The way that I eat will be different from the way that you eat. Not totally opposite, but somewhat we have to adjust it to your own lifestyle. Because if I am, let's say, a brain worker, I sit down at the desk, typing all day, I probably won't need as much nutrition or food as someone who's working, like, let's say, construction or digging wells or something like that, right? More intensive, okay? So then my diet might be different from other people's diet here. So now we have a question in the chat here. What about plant-based vegans who are overweight? Need some help in this area. Okay, so we're going to talk about this here as well. And maybe we didn't get too much in details about this here today, but in one of our future classes, we want to talk about digestion. And so we're going to talk about timing of our food. But we're going to talk about foods here today. We're going to make sure that when we talk about plant-based diet, the healthiest form of plant-based eating is whole food plant-based foods, right? Because you can have the plant-based food and you can be eating highly processed foods, which is not healthy for our bodies, okay? So there are some people who can be on a vegan diet, but they eat very unhealthily because, you know, all this candy, they have a lot of candies that are vegan. They have chocolates that are vegan. And so it doesn't mean that just because you eat vegan that you're actually healthy. Okay, we're going to get into that some more today. So what is wrong with the way that we are eating today? So then we call this the Western diet, or the SAD diet, the Standard American Diet. It is high in protein, high fat, high sugar, and in this diet we get little or no fiber in our body. Okay, so now that is a problem. So then the question now is, what happens when we have an increase of fat in our diet? It leads to obesity, osteoporosis, heart disease, cancer, and type 2 diabetes. And also we have this in this I guess wild imagination with our food. I don't know if because we have become so comfortable in this country, I'm talking about the USA for those who are overseas, I'm talking about the Western world, especially the United States of America, we become so comfortable that we begin to become so creative with the food and with the diet. And there's this restaurant called the Heart Attack Grill. The Heart Attack Grill restaurant. And let's look at the menu of the Heart Attack Grill to see how far we have gone as a society today. The Heart Attack Grill, it says, tastes worth dying for. So they have right now on the screen, we have a single bypass burger, a double bypass burger, even a triple bypass burger, and even they have like a quadruple bypass burger. Can you imagine that? They're actually telling you what will happen to you if you consume the food. It's actually called a Heart Attack Grill, for crying out loud. And also the fries, it's called flat liner fries. That's crazy. It says dipped in pure lard. This is very unhealthy food. And the name tells you that, hey, you come here, you might get a heart attack. It's called a Heart Attack Grill. So what we want to do here is to see what has happened. Like, let's see what this guy had to say about his restaurant. What is the purpose? Why did he create this restaurant? He then revealed a clear plastic bag filled with a powder-like substance. And he says here, I'm here with the cremated remains of someone who died at my restaurant. He died of a heart attack at my restaurant. And I'm putting the bag clearly on the table. So this is what he said there. Someone died at my restaurant. And he said, I have the cremated remains of that person. That person was allowed to eat for free at his restaurant. Anyone who weighed, I think it was over 350 pounds, ate for free at his restaurant. And this guy who was a spokesperson for him, he has the cremated remains, and he said he's putting the bag clearly on the table. So what he's saying here is, I'm telling you exactly what will happen to you if you come at my restaurant. But then he says, I wish that who? Burger King, he said McDonald's, and everyone else would do the same thing. So what he's saying is, I'm letting you know my food will kill you. You'll probably get a heart attack by coming to my restaurant, but at least I'm telling you up front. But guess who is not telling you up front? Burger King is not telling you up front. McDonald's is not telling you up front. And everyone else is not telling you up front. And basically, KFC, if you go into all these restaurants, these things can lead to a heart attack eventually. And if you know what KFC stands for, I say this all the time. KFC stands for, killing faithful Christians, okay? So then we have to make sure that the food that we eat and the places that we eat is something that can bring life to our bodies. And these foods here, even though they don't tell you directly, it is killing you. At least this man is sending the message and he's telling you, hey, if you come to this restaurant, you're probably going to die of a heart attack. It's the same thing for all these other restaurants like Burger King and McDonald's. And you have to think that it's kind of twisted, that the way that he's, the message that he's putting out, the restaurant that he created. But you have to respect it because he's been upfront. People will still go there. And some of you today, you still eat at those places even though that it's not healthy. And I always give this illustration. I always tell people, what if you take a glass of water and we put 1 drop of poison in there, right, in a glass of water? Would you drink it? And every time when I ask that, and for those in the chat, you could let me know, would you drink 1 drop of poison? I put it in the glass. Let me know in the chat. Would you drink that? And then, oftentimes people will say, no way, I won't drink because there's poison in there. But it's just 1 drop. But then the same thing with our food. If we know that our food has poison in it, which is not good for us, it can clog up our arteries, it can lead to heart attack and heart disease and high cholesterol and all this stuff like that, right? If we know that, but it takes a longer time because it's a small amount, so then why do we continue to eat it? But when it comes to drinking that glass with 1 drop, tiny drop of poison in it, we won't drink it. It won't kill us immediately. It will probably take a long time to kill us. It's the same thing with our foods. How comes we are able to eat foods that are poisonous to us, but yet when it comes to the glass of water, we don't want to drink it? Okay? So then, let's go further. So what are some sources of dietary cholesterol? We're just talking about fat right now, and the fat that leads up to cholesterol in our bloodstream. So cholesterol is found only in animals. Fruits, grains, nuts, and vegetables have no cholesterol in it. Now, our body produces all the cholesterol that it needs. Cholesterol is actually good for us. Cholesterol serves a purpose. Cholesterol, also one of the things cholesterol does is when your arteries and stuff gets damaged, cholesterol goes in and helps your arteries to heal. okay? But then, if your body produces all the cholesterol that it needs, and then you add added cholesterol on top of that from your diet, no wonder you'll get high cholesterol. So then you have to look out for, if you have high cholesterol, one of the simplest things that you can do to fix your high cholesterol is to eliminate foods that have cholesterol in it. That's just the logical, easiest thing to do. Even fish, we'll go on, we'll look at that a little further as well. And then sometimes the cholesterol builds up, that cholesterol builds up in your arteries, and it begins to clog up your arteries. Your arteries starts to narrow, and some of you today, maybe, God forbid, that some of you are watching today, and your arteries are beginning to close up on you, and you don't even know it. Right? So then some of you might be saying, well, I've been eating this way all my life. I've been eating animal foods. I've been eating this way, and I've never been to the hospital. Well, look at this here. Your arteries can be closing up on you for years. It's starting to build up more and more and more. And that's why they call, even high blood pressure and the pressure that goes into your arteries, and something can rupture. And if your arteries narrow and it closes up on you, that can lead to a heart attack. That's what they call the blood pressure silent killer. So then you have to think to yourself, like, this is a silent killer. This builds up over years, not just all of a sudden. Over years, this can build up, and all of a sudden, it's bam, just gone. You have to think about these things there. When you make your decision, you kind of make it based on, I've been doing this all my life, and nothing has happened to me. So then, be very careful. Also, fish. Some say, well, I need my omega-3 fatty acids. We're talking about fat right now, right? Well, I need fatty acid. I need to get it from the fish. So the source of omega-3 from the fish is from the skin, liver. These are the two most contaminated organs of the fish. And the fish industry is not regulated. There's a high concentration of heavy metals in the fish nowadays. So then even not in the fish is good as well. Fish also has cholesterol in it. But you have to think about it. Where does the fish get its omega-3 from? Because every single mineral, vitamin, all the stuff that we have and the animals have, these things don't come from the animals. That's not the source. What is this? Where does the animals get it from? Even the animals that eat other animals, they eat animals that are herbivores. So all these things come from plants when you look at it. And for those who are joining, make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you're new here, also like this video if the information is helpful already, but I want you to share this with as many as you can. So just take a moment and just click the share button and share this with all your friends. You can share it on your WhatsApp with all the friends that need to join in here. We're talking about God's optimal nutritional plan, the best diet plan for us to help us to reverse disease. So now, is fish a healthy alternative? So if you think that fish is a healthy alternative, according to ABC's Primetime Live report, it says 2/3 of all fresh fish tested bought at various markets were technically rotten. It had toxic levels of bacteria and parasites. Even though it looked, smelled, and tasted normal, another 2/3 tested positive for toxic levels of PCBs. 25% had toxic levels of mercury. They called sushi a dangerous food. A University of Connecticut School of Medicine report blamed fish as the culprit in malignant breast cancer. They discovered that women with this malignancy had double the concentration of PCBs in their bodies. They warned against the intake of fish and dairy products and even added caution regarding the intake of any animal fat. Okay, so that's with fish right here. So then we just have to be very mindful of what we put into our bodies. And you can get this from other sources, and we're going to see this very soon towards the second half of our presentation. So increased protein, what does that cause in our body? That can lead to high cholesterol level, heart disease, cancer, osteoporosis, kidney dysfunction, and mental problems as well. So the protein comparison. So some people say, well, you need protein, and some people say, well, you tell the kids, right, drink your milk. And in our mindset, that milk is healthy. You get your protein, you get your calcium from the milk. But then if you worried so much about protein, getting that from milk, then why don't you just drink the milk of a rat, right? It has the value of protein per milligrams per liter. That's 11.8 milligrams of protein per liter of milk. That sounds disgusting, right? But the animals, the milk, the content of the nutrition in that milk was made for the youngling of that animal. So then, like let's say a human has 1.2 milligram, approximately 1.2 milligram per liter of milk, protein, 1.2 milligram protein per liter of milk. So that baby, that human baby, will double its birth weight in 120 days. So that's about 4 months. It will double its birth weight, right? Approximately. Now, a cow, which most people get their milk source from, it has 3.3 milligrams of protein per liter, so that will take about 47 days, about a month and a half for that baby, that calf, to double its birth weight. And we have our children consuming that cow's milk, and nowadays the cows are not just cow's milk, you have those cows that are pumped with growth hormones and antibiotics and all these various things that the animals are pumped with nowadays. And no wonder we see our children are supersized and they're developing so early. And even the hormones that they give those animals, we see that even the young girls are hitting puberty at a much younger age, and they look so developed nowadays. And where back in the day, when I went to school and we had high school, kids entering high school, they look like midgets back in the day. So then we have to eat food that are aligned more closely with our human biology and what we were meant to consume even as children, as babies. Okay? And then we have also, this just look horrible if you drink the milk from a baby rat. But then what is this? Is this cute hair? Look at this hair. While Florida milk has the highest count of 548 million pus cells per liter of milk, on nearly 150 million pus cells per 8-ounce glass, even that is well below the USDA's allowable US standard of 750 pus cells per liter, above which must be consumed in the state in which it's produced. So we have here, even our milk, what is in our milk? We have pus cells in our milk, and even when they the udders and they use the machine, sometimes the udders get ruptured and blood goes into the milk and all kinds of stuff goes into that milk. And that's why they made laws to be able to putrefy that milk, because to kill the bacteria. Even infant mortality started to increase in the during the 1900s, during the women's rights movement and the whole stay-at-home thing and the women empowerment. They started giving the children formula and this cow's milk and stuff like that at an early age, and that started to increase infant mortality, the deaths of babies. So then they made a law to pasteurize those milk, to kill that bacteria in the milk that was causing deaths in people. So that there's so many things to worry about when we consume the animals of another species. And you see a child here, that child is cutting out the middleman. Human beings are the only species to drink the milk of another species, and the only species to drink milk beyond infancy. If you see a man drinking the udders of a cow there, that looks so strange. But this is what happens if we cut out the middleman. So imagine that, cutting out the middleman. That means you go straight to the source, because now you milk the cow, the milk goes into bottles, you putrefy it, you put it in the supermarket shelf. But if you just cut out the middleman, just go straight to your source, that looks ridiculous, right? To see a grown person drinking from the milk of another species of animal. So what about when we look at cheese now, because we looked at different stuff in our dairy and our fats. We look at cheese. We have this tyramine here, which is found abundantly in cheese, and tyramine is a compound known as an amine found in many foods produced from the natural breakdown of the amino acid tyrosine. Tyramine can cause blood vessels to dilate. So food that have tyramine is generally preserved or aged, and this can cause conditions with neurotransmitters, confuse our brain cells, lead to allergies, headaches. Even one of my siblings who, when he was at school studying, always had headaches every single week. And when he gave up dairy from his diet, the headaches went away and he never came back. So these things can lead to headaches, migraines, digestive, bowel disorders, constipation, diverticulosis, and fibromyalgia. Okay? Many of the issues that can lead to tyramine. What about eggs now? We're talking about dairy here. So eggs is basically the chicken's embryo, or a whole baby chick inside of that the sac, the fluid, that unborn baby fetus, and all those different things there. Look at the different stages of development of the egg. So you're eating a whole chick inside of that egg here. And if you ever cracked open an egg and you saw one of those like a little underdeveloped chicken inside there, that's one of the most disgusting things that you can see, right? And we eat this here. So what about the increase of sugar in our diet? That can lead to obesity, cancer, arthritis, high triglyceride levels, heart disease, diabetes, etc. And then we see here that we have sugar. Sugar weakens the white blood cell ability to destroy bacteria. We see here that if you consume 0 teaspoons of sugar, approximately your white blood cells would, one white blood cell will kill about 14 different bacteria. But then if you eat about 24 teaspoons of sugar, your white blood cell ability to kill bacteria is just one blood cell for one bacteria in our body, and the immune system becomes very ineffective. So then you can imagine what happens when viruses start to duplicate inside your body and replicate itself, then you'll be more prone to becoming sick, because now your body has to try to produce much more white blood cells to fight that infection, whereas if you just had a robust immune system, then your body would be able to fight or even neutralize the disease, so you probably don't even get sick, or you're asymptomatic. So then all these things can lead to sickness and illness, and very important for us to see how we can eliminate this sugar from our diet. And I like to call the sugar here, talking about the granulated sugar, I like to call this the white crack, right? This is addictive. Sugar, this sugar has no nutritive value whatsoever. Sugar has nothing in it that provides any nutrients, no fiber, and also sugar just basically glucose. So it just gives you a bunch of glucose in your system without any nutritive value. So it's an empty caloric food, okay? So then study shows that eating 100 grams of sugar can reduce white blood cell activity by up to 40% for 4 to 5 hours. And you don't just consume 100 grams of sugar, come on. When you look at the back of the packaging of the things that you consume, this is going to be your homework right here. What you're going to do here is to look at the back of your packages of the different foods that you consume, that chocolate, that candy, that, all the stuff that you consume, not even just chocolate and candy, because they put sugar in everything now. In the cereals, in bread, in the juice that you drink, in every single thing that we consume now, there's sugar inside. I've been on a no sugar, added sugar, that refined sugar, talking about crystallized sugar. I've been on a no refined sugar diet for probably 10 years plus. And when I go to the supermarket, sometimes it takes a long time to be able to find something that doesn't have sugar in it. Now I've been doing this for a long time. I recognize some of the brands that don't have sugar, and I would try to buy some of those things without sugar in it. But most of the part, we cook at home and we eat whole foods, so that helps us a lot. Also, studies show that sugar could be just as addictive as cocaine. It turns on the similar neural pathways in the brain as cocaine does. And they even showed a study of mice, and the mice became a little more addicted to sugar water than cocaine water as well. Now, with sugar, what is similar to sugar is refined grains. Because now with the whole grain, you have 3 components of that whole grain. You have a bran, you have an endosperm, and you have the germ. So the bran is a fiber-rich outer layer that protects the seed and contains B vitamins and trace minerals. The endosperm is the middle layer that contains carbohydrates, mainly glucose and proteins. And then you have the germ, that inner core, that is nutrient-rich, that contains antioxidants, including vitamin E, B vitamins, and healthy fats. Now, when you process that grain, all you're left is just the endosperm. And remember, we said the endosperm is mainly just glucose and protein. It's just sugar and protein. So then, even those refined grains is like consuming sugar. Okay? And when we consume those high amounts of sugar in our diet, that can lead to so many issues, as we talked about before. diabetes, insulin resistance, damaging to your arteries, leading up to cholesterol buildup in your arteries and so forth, and so many things that sugar can do on the body as well. Now there is a consequences to this here, because when the sugar and stuff was first invented, okay, that they refined the grains and they separated the bran and the germ and basically left a food that has little or no nutrients inside, and people started to eat heavily of the white flour and the white corn, and eat in the breads and the bacon in the white rice, like all the stuff like that, right? Let us see what happened to the population when this thing was first invented. So there was a disease called pellagra, which is niacin deficiency. So it first appeared in the southern United States in the early 1900s. It was caused by diets heavy in refined cornmeal and white flour. The symptoms were, we call it the 4Ds: diarrhea, dermatitis, dementia, and even death. This affected 3 million people. Talking about 3 million people. The population was much smaller at that time, killing at least 100,000 by the 1940s. And that was because of the refining of our grains. You pay attention to this right here. Okay, there's another disease called beriberi, thiamine deficiency. It was linked to polished white rice, the white rice that we consume. So we're talking about white rice here. We're talking about the corn that is processed, white cornmeal or corn flour, and also the processed white flour and so forth that we consume. Okay, so this thiamine deficiency caused heavy nerve damage and heart failure and weakness. Okay, so the government action, because the government saw that people were dying from those refined grains, so to prevent further disease, the government passed laws in the 1940s mandating the enrichment of white flour with synthetic niacin, B3, thiamine, B1, riboflavin, B2, iron, and later added folic acid. Was added in the 1990s to prevent birth defects. But look at this here. Even enriched flour is not the same as whole grain. It's still missing fiber, vitamin E, healthy fats, and hundreds of phytonutrients God placed in the whole grain. So let me use an example here for you. What if you have $100? And I see $100 and I snatch your $100 away and I ran with it and I stole it and I started to feel bad, and I'm like, man, I feel so bad for this guy, this brother. I spent $80 of it and I have $20 left. I say, you know what, let me go give this brother back his $20. And I say, hey bro, I want to enrich you with $20. Would you feel enriched? Let me see in the chat right now. Just type in the chat. Would you feel enriched by this there? No, right? No, why wouldn't you feel enriched? You type in the chat, and for those who are joining, you can type your questions. We're interacting. I'm watching the chats here, so we can be able to interact with this here. We're live right now. So then you won't feel enriched, and the reason why you won't feel enriched is because you took $100 and you gave me back $20. How can that be enrichment, right? So now you see this flour is almost like a marketing stunt where they put on the flowers enrich, whereas it is mandatory by law that it's supposed to be enriched. So they put enriched flour on the packaging to let you know that it's enriched. But what about all the other, the $80, right? The other phytonutrients, the vitamin E, the healthy fats, the fiber, all these things that are missing, and you just give me back a little bit, you put a little bit of the nutrients back into the food, and you say it's enriched. It's not really enriched. We've been robbed. We've been robbed. And that's exactly what it is. So then when you consume those whole grains, even though they put back those things that cause disease and nerve damage and birth defects and all the stuff like that, right? This happened on a shorter time frame. It was more pronounced and it was noticeable for us. But now you put back some of the nutrients in, but what if this is still causing deficiency and still causing problems, but now it just takes a longer time? And that's what is happening basically. These things can do damage to our body, but in a longer time frame. And not because you don't see the results right after eating, and not because you don't see results after 1 year of consuming those foods. eventually those things will catch up to us. And some of us today, we get most of our nutrients from the animals that we eat. And if we didn't eat the animals, we probably would be very sick, because we get in the nutrients secondhand. The animals consume all those nutrients, and then we eat the animals to get the nutrients that the animals consumed. Okay? So one of the reasons why God talked about eating the clean animals, because they eat largely of plant foods. Those other animals that don't eat plant foods, they eat other animals that eat plant foods, so they get it secondhand. But then we have to go back to the source. And what we're talking about here is a whole food, plant-based diet. And for those who talk about on a plant-based diet, can I lose weight in a plant-based diet? Well, this is probably one of the reasons why, is because we eat those highly ultra-processed foods, those refined foods. High in sugar raises our obesity and also all types of diseases. Raises our risk of developing type of diseases. So now there's a saying that goes like this here: the whiter the bread, the sooner or the faster you're dead. I don't know if you ever heard this before. But that's the case here. Those foods eventually over time can lead to severe health consequences for us. What we have to consume right now is, instead of those white processed foods, opt more in for whole grain. And one of the tests for your breads to know if it's good or not is that you can just take it and push it in right there. If it just sinks in, or you can even take it and make it into like a ball of dough, then you know that that thing is refined, very light. But if you push it in and it's dense, then you know that's probably whole grain. So, what about decreased fiber in our diet? That can lead to heart disease, bowel and other cancers, diabetes, stroke, hemorrhoids, hiatus hernia, diverticular disease, appendicitis, colon polyps, and the list goes on. But now what we want to do here is to look at God's life-activating diet, which we call the GLAD diet. We just looked at the SAD diet, the standard American diet. We're going to look at the GLAD diet now. It's low in protein, low in fat, high in fiber, and also high in nutrients. So we looked at the study already. For those who are coming on as well, results show that eating a plant-based diet incrementally lowers one's risk of high blood pressure, obesity, and diabetes. Advantaged vegetarians who were on a 100% meat-free diet, they live 10 to 14 years longer than the general population. Okay? And also, during the COVID-19, they did a study here. They showed that plant-based eaters were 73% less likely to come down with the virus compared to those who included animals in their diet. Also, what happens with a low protein diet? The reasons for protein is to build tissue, okay? And there are different kinds of protein we get from animals, and also we get from plants. Plants has protein. It's just that it's called omega-3 acids. Not omega-3 acids. It's called amino acids. Amino acids. And amino acids come together, essential amino acids come together to form a complete protein. Also, in James Brody's nutrition book said, when the body must rely on protein for energy, vital nutrients is not available for building and replacing body tissue. Kidneys must excrete the nitrogen part, overtaxing the kidneys. So what it's saying is, if you have a high protein diet and low carbohydrate diet, and your body now has to depend upon protein to provide energy, that puts a tax on your kidneys. That's why people with kidney disease, you advise to limit the amount of protein that you consume, because when it converts that into energy, it has this byproduct nitrogen, that nitrates that the body has to try to eliminate from the system. That puts a load on the kidneys. Okay? And many people have this misconception about protein and the amount of protein that they should consume per day. And most people don't even know. So when they talk about a plant-based diet, everyone, the first question that they ask is, can I get enough protein on a plant-based diet? So then I ask them, how much protein do you need per day? And they don't even know. So here we go. Let's talk about how much protein should we be consuming per day. If you're a male, by the time you pass 18 years old, you should consume about 56 grams of protein per day. You know, the average American today consumes 3 times as much protein than they even need. Okay? And when you start to work out, yes, you consume a little more protein, but even then, we overdo our protein consumption. And for some people, they think like protein consumption is just healthy. Like, oh, I'm going to get some protein in my meat, my steak, and they think that that is healthy. That is not the case. Protein, just eating a high protein diet does not equal health. I don't know where we got that mindset from, because I think it's most about the gym, like building muscle. People think about building muscle, going to the gym, and they think about protein. So they think protein is healthy because it helps us as we go to the gym and build muscle. But we consume way too much protein as a society today. And as a female, for ladies, by the time you reach 14 years and older, you should consume about 46 grams of protein per day, so less than men. And this is actually very achievable on just a regular plant-based diet. You don't even have to do much to be able to hit those numbers. And I will show you this here by looking at an example meal. When you're pregnant, you eat more. During pregnancy, 71 grams. And if in lactation, when you're breastfeeding, you increase your protein consumption as well for yourself, because the baby will suck the life out of you. So for yourself, you need to make sure that you improve the consumption of these things. So where do you get your protein from? So you get it from your grains, your beans, your nuts, and your seeds. Yes, plant-based foods have protein in there. As we said before, amino acids that form together and form your proteins, right? And also when you look at, people talk about getting protein from milk. When we look at milk for milk, like cow milk for soy milk, every cup of cow's milk and 1 cup of soy milk, they both have the same grams of protein in there. So 8 grams of protein in a cup of cow milk and 8 grams of protein in a cup of soy milk. So the idea that we need to consume cow's milk for protein is just flawed. You can actually get enough protein on a plant-based diet as well. Also, let's look at a breakfast, a plant-based breakfast. Can we get protein from just eating? I'm talking about just a regular diet. I haven't even gone overboard in trying to optimize for protein consumption, right? So the foods that have like just eating a plant-based diet, we have oatmeal right here, and oatmeal is something that we can all eat there. Soy milk, quarter cup. You have raisins, you have banana, you have peaches, you have almonds. This is like a breakfast that is so achievable to eat. I haven't even added, like, let's say, some almond butter in there, or peanut butter that also has high amounts of protein in there. Haven't even added any of the things there to optimize for protein consumption. And for that breakfast, we're already at 21.4 grams of protein. That's almost about halfway for ladies with the protein. Okay? And then now let's say a simple plant-based lunch. I'm not even, as I said before, optimizing for the amount of protein you should be consuming. So then we have a simple plant-based lunch: baked potato, 1 large baked potato. It's 1. And obviously, some people eat more, some people eat less. Because I myself, I can probably eat 2 or maybe even 3. So then 1 large baked potato, lentil, 1 cup of lentils. Some cashews, let's say an ounce of cashews. Maybe you have it in your salad dressing and you put it over your salad. And that there is about 30 grams of protein, okay? So for ladies, just consuming this and your breakfast is already about 51 grams of protein. That's more than you need. That's already met your daily needs for protein, okay? And also, when you include salad now, because guess what? Newsflash, salad also has protein in there. And if you eat, we recommend eating like half your plate being salad, so having your big scrumptious salads every single day. So lettuce, tomatoes, red bell pepper, carrots, cucumber, onion, broccoli, frolets, and also cauliflower. You make a tossed salad out of that, and you get about 7.8 grams of protein there from that. So that's about 37.8 grams of protein in your lunch. So by having your breakfast and your lunch, both men and women, you've met your protein goals for the day. Okay? Okay? So that's together, that's almost about 59 grams of protein. It's about 59 grams of protein, and for both men and women, you've met your protein goals. And you're not even including a third meal. And we're not even optimizing eating more dense protein foods that we can consume. Like, let's say if we had substitute the baked potato for, like, let's say quinoa or something like that, that has complete protein in there as well. Okay? So now fats now. So the purpose of fats, it provides energy, absorbs certain nutrients, and maintains your core body temperature. Okay? Now, when you look at, again, cup for cup, people say, well, how are you going to get fats on a plant-based diet? Well, 1 cup of almonds, obviously you're not going to eat 1 cup of almonds, but 1 cup of almonds has 45 grams of fat versus a chicken breast, 1 cup has 19 grams of fat in there. Okay? Protein for fat for fat, almonds has more fat, but it has healthy fat. And obviously you're not going to eat a whole cup. You might eat a fifth of that or less. So then that's just to show you here, on a plant-based diet, you can get the fats that you need. You can get the protein that you need as well. So now let's talk about omega-3 fatty acids. When we eat, especially those plants that are on land, we have flaxseed that has omega-3, specifically alpha-lipoic acid, linoleic acid, and walnuts also has omega-3 in there. Also wheat germ oil, and also soybeans, the green soybeans and almonds have omega-3 in there. Now, where does the fish get the omega-3 from? We talk about this as well. The algae in the fresh water and also in the ocean as well. We have the algae. Those are some of the seaweed. So then those have omega-3 fatty acids in there. So we have 3 major kinds of omega-3 fatty acids. We have the ALA, we have the EPA, and we have the DHA. So EPA and DHA are mainly in the algae in the ocean, and also it shows here that some of the omega-3 fatty chain acids are more bioavailable from, you get more from the sources in the like the algae and stuff like that, versus like the flaxseed. And if you consume flaxseed, you can consume that with your breakfast daily. So just take a tablespoon of flaxseed and put it over your oatmeal or in your smoothies or even over your salad. Whatever you eat, you can put in your flaxseed in there. And also ground the flaxseed. It makes it a little bit better for your body to digest and absorb some of the omega-3 fatty acids from there. And also not just omega-3 fatty acids, but we look at the ALA itself. It helps to lower inflammation. This has been studied to help with inflammation and a lot of different issues, right? So then consuming those omega-3 fatty acids will be great, as I said before, grounded, because if you eat it whole, sometimes you see the flaxseed come out in your stool, and so when you ground it, it makes it more available to you. You can either buy the flaxseed whole from the supermarket and then ground it in your blender afterwards, or you can buy the grounded flaxseed from the supermarket. Just make sure if you buy it from the supermarket, buy it probably in smaller packages, so that way you can consume them quicker, because the longer they stay when it's grounded, the more they lead to oxidation, which oxidation denatures, some of the foods that we consume and stuff like that. Okay? All right, so now we look at health fats, sources of our healthy fats. We have nuts, we have olives, we have avocados, we have grains, legumes like beans and peas. All those have healthy fats in there, okay? So on a plant-based diet, yes, you can get the amount of fats that you need. Okay, now also the dangers of a high-fat diet. Fat burns inefficiently in the absence of carbohydrates. So when you look at this ketogenic diet, right, high in protein, high in fat, and low in carbohydrates, this is the danger right here. The result, your body becomes polluted with fat waste product called ketone bodies, and that's why they call it the ketogenic diet. And those ketone bodies is not healthy for our bodies. These compounds can damage the brain and cause nausea and fatigue, and the kidneys faced with the cleanup as well. It can lead to other things like dementia, Alzheimer's, with the high ketogenic diet, and also damaging our kidneys. And there's a bunch of issues that come from following these ketogenic Atkins variant diets. Okay, so it is important for us to follow the diet that God gave us at creation, the most optimal diet. Now, for those who are joining right now, if you enjoying this video so far, just make sure to remember to like this video, because when you like it, it helps to recommend this video to others on YouTube as well, so more people can see the video. When you like it and you even leave a comment on the video, it helps to show YouTube that this video is engaging, and it shares it with many others. Okay, so let's go further here. So now, what about high fiber diet? that can add bulk and absorb water and act as a broom. So just to think about fiber as the broom inside your intestines. Like you sweep out all the gunk inside your house, all the dirt and the dust. The same thing happens in your body. The fiber is like a broom. When it goes into your colon, it absorbs water and it acts like a sponge. The fiber can stimulate the smooth, efficient working of the bowel because it is able to absorb many times its weight in water. It acts like a sponge in the large intestine, drawing water into the feces and making the stool larger and softer and easier to pass. Okay? So high dietary fiber, especially in soluble types, accelerate intestinal transit time. That means when you put food into your mouth and it goes out into the toilet, it increases that time. You know, for every meal that you have, there should be a corresponding bowel movement. Okay? Means your food that you consume approximately should take about 24 hours to go into the mouth and to exit your body, approximately 24 hours. Okay? And the reason why, you know, it will take 24 hours, this is just normal. And when you consume high amounts of fiber, that helps to optimize your digestion where it can actually exit 24 hours. Average today, people are going like once every 3 days. It's chronic constipation. And you can have those feces can build up in your colon, and you can have sometimes anywhere between 5 and 25 pounds of fecal matter that's stagnant in the colon area. And what you want to do here is to make sure that is all cleaned out and cleansed. And fiber actually acts as the broom and it helps to eliminate those things properly out of your body. So fiber helps with weight control, heart disease, diabetes, and cancer. Okay? And also, just to let you know, if you have any questions in the chat whilst we're presenting, make sure you type in the chat right next to this video, and I'll be able to answer some of those questions for those who are watching live. All right, so the sources of fiber. The common sources of fiber includes whole grains, fruits, and vegetables. Basically, what we're saying here, there's fiber is only in plant-based foods. All plant foods have fiber in it. Animal foods have no fiber in it whatsoever. Okay? So sources of fiber, we have whole grains and starches. Brown rice, barley, pasta, potatoes, corn, sweet potatoes, pumpkins, taro, and cassava. Also, we have common whole grains like corn, barley, bulgur, wheat, quinoa, rice, rye, and oats. And then we have some of the lesser known whole grains like spelt, millet, buckwheat, amaranth, kamut, teff, and flax. All right? So then now the question is, where do we get our calcium from? We get calcium from dark green leafy vegetables like figs also, and almonds and sesame seeds. So we see so far we're getting all the stuff that we need. We can get the protein from our plant-based diet. We can get calcium. We can get omega-3 fatty acids, also just fats in general. So every single thing that we need, we can find it in the plant-based foods. And that makes total sense because every single animal on this planet get their source of nutrients from plants, which you get it from the soil. The soil has all the elements that is in the human body. Okay? So now, when you think about it, even the elephants, big, giant elephants, eat mainly of plants. We have those gorillas, big, strong, muscular animals, eat of plants. And the list goes on. So also, question now is, where do we get the iron from? Can we get iron on a plant-based diet? Yes, you can get it from dark green leafy vegetables. You can get it from whole grains, lentils, figs, avocados, also blackstrap molasses as well. Blackstrap molasses. Blackstrap molasses is very nutrient dense. So blackstrap molasses is actually as a byproduct of making sugar. So you have the crystallized sugar, and to the bottom there's this sap that concentrates, because you take it from the cane juice and you boil it down until it becomes, crystallized. But then there is a concentrated sap that all that cane juice concentrated, and that's where basically all the nutrients is at. So while sugar is unhealthy and sugar is nutrient depleted, or just not have no nutrients whatsoever, blackstrap molasses is very nutrient dense on the other hand. It's high in iron, high in all type of issues. So you can actually take blackstrap molasses as a supplement. 1 tablespoon a day or blackstrap molasses. Actually a good multi-supplement that you can take. So where do you get your iodine from? You can get it from kelp, from spinach, from cabbage, parsley, sea vegetables as well. So in the plant-based diet, as we're looking at here, we're going through so far, we see here that, all the stuff that we need in our body, we can get it from, plant sources. And also the big one here, B12. And the small intestine of healthy humans contain bacteria that are capable of producing B12. Do you know that? Okay, it's capable of producing B12. When our intestine becomes too clogged up, becomes unhealthy, our body doesn't produce the B12 that it actually needs. And also the recommended daily allowance for B12 is 6 to 25 micrograms, depending on the age, and the higher levels being in older people. Okay, now when you look at this bottle of B12 there on the screen, it says 5,000 micrograms. That's way more than our recommended daily allowance, what we actually need per day. So taking this one supplement can last us for months and months to come. So then we want to make sure that we don't over-consume and overthink these things, where you think, oh, I need the B12, oh, like every single thing that you need in your diet, you need to get B12 at every meal, you need to get protein at every meal, and we just so fixated on these deficiencies. And even when you go to the doctor and you tell them you're on a plant-based diet, the first thing they want to do is they want to check your B12 levels at. Where is it at? And even my mom, who lives with us and is on this plant-based diet now going on 10 plus years, and when she goes to the doctor, when she does her checkup, the doctor wants to check her B12 levels because she said that she's plant-based, and it always comes back right smack in the middle, normal. And just to let you know, my mom doesn't consume any B12 vitamins at all, but her B12 range is in the normal range. Okay, so sometimes we overcomplicate things, and we get so afraid because maybe what the doctors are telling us, what people are saying online, and all kinds of stuff here, and and we scare ourselves, fear, and we're afraid to do this here because we think we're going to be deficient. But when you think about it, every single animal on this planet consume a plant-based diet, and then we eat those animals as secondhand. So we're getting those nutrients from the plants secondhand. So everything comes from the plants anyways. That's just something to pay attention to. The animals is capable of producing B12, and we eat it from the animals. And even people that also, there are many people who eat an animal diet that are B12 deficient as well. That's another story. Maybe we'll do just a video on B12 in the future, and talking about the myths of being on the B12 deficiency myth. So then, we're going to end here for today. So what we want to do right now is, I want to be able to just open this here for any questions that people may have. Okay? Let me know if anyone has some questions in the chat. I want to be able to answer some of those questions for you right now. I'm going to go into a little Q&A segment here before we end off our chat for today. If you gained a lot of information, you can just say a yes in the chat. Yes, if you've gained a lot of information here today. But any questions, put in the chat right now, and so that we can be able to answer some of those questions for you. Might be nutrition related, when it comes to your lifestyle, what you're experiencing, and so forth. And for those who are also new here, also we want to let you know that in the description of this video, we have our Total Body Reset workshop. For those who are thinking about doing a cleanse, I recommend, if you want to change your diet, the Bible teaches a principle. It says, do not put new wine into old bottles. So what is it saying there is, sometimes you have those bottles with old wine inside, or old, juice that might be old, and you put some new, juice inside of there, that bottle can burst and pop, right? So then you want to put new wine into new bottles. So the same thing with us here, with our bodies. If we want to change our diet and say, let me start putting some more plant-based foods in, it probably would be a good idea to say, you know what, let me put some good, nutritious food into a new body by doing a cleanse. And that's why we have our Total Body Reset workshop. That is our 30-day cleanse that people go on, and people are able to change their lifestyle, but change their diet and also change and just clean their body out. So it's a challenge. It's challenging you for 30 days. Okay? 30 days is challenging you to be able to eat a healthier lifestyle, but also doing a cleanse for 30 days. So you're going to cleanse your kidney, your colon, your liver. You don't have to do this here. You don't have to do this. Obviously, signing up for the workshop will support us because that's how we support ourselves. We are a ministry. We are a non-profit organization called Eden Lifestyle. We travel the country. We do presentations, and also we're starting to do more stuff online as well, where we share this information for free online, and we're able to sustain ourselves because we also have a lifestyle center here. So I'm actually in the lifestyle center right now. People come from across the country and across the world to come to our lifestyle center to be helped with their varying illnesses, and also people do our online programs as well. So we also have our online programs that we do. Instead of people coming to our center, we created those programs, we put it online. So you can do the cleanses online, so you don't have to come to our center to do the cleanses. And in the Total Body Reset Workshop, we have juicing plan, and herbs and different stuff that you can do to help your body. So all these things are in the description of this video, so you can be able to sign up for this thing right here. And if you just look into the description of this video on YouTube, you'll be able to see this in the description. I'm going to answer your questions now. Just make sure that you can sign up for this here, Total Body Reset Workshop. It's all video pre-recorded for you. Everything is done for you as well. So that way you just come, you just follow the instructions of all the videos, and everything that you need is all there for you, done for you already. Okay? So yep, so we're going to answer. So someone asked about oil. All right, so that's a good question here. So with oil here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put this, let me just put this link in the chat right now for you really quick. I'm going to put this link in the chat. So if you need to sign up for the, let me put this here. If you need to sign up for the Total Body Reset Workshop, I'm going to put the link in the chat. Total Body Reset and Workshop right here. So if you need to sign up for the, it's right here in the chat. Be able to click the link in the chat right there. So someone says, oils, is it okay to use? So now, hopefully we can have another presentation just on the oils. What I want to do here in the future, for those who might be interested in this thing, what I want to do is I have a channel right now that I do YouTube videos. I want to create shorter videos, 12, 15, 20 minutes long, and I want to go into different subjects. And one of the things I want to cover is the oil, because you have some doctors and even some people that I recommend they say no oil, right? No oil diet. We don't promote a no oil diet. Olive oil has been used for ages, and even the Mediterranean diet, which has also been shown to have longevity, includes oil in those things as well. Okay, so we don't advocate for no oil diet. What we do advocate for is the right processing of the oils, and also using the oils right as well. So then when I say right processing, you want to make sure your oils are cold pressed and expeller pressed, because when heat is applied, it can denature that oil and also change the chemical makeup, where it can make that oil, just like deep frying. When you deep fry oil, it can change those things into more carcinogens, and also like free radicals, and those free radicals can damage your body. Okay, so that's why, especially seed oils, they are more prone, they're more sensitive. Because the oils, they have one bond in them. Sorry, not one bond, but double bonds in the oil. It has more breaking points in that oil, so that the oil can become something that is like a free radical in the system. So I would recommend, when you get oils, look for virgin, cold press, or expeller press. Okay, we don't advocate for just a fully no oil diet. And oils are pretty healthy too as well. Oils are pretty healthy. Like olive oil is pretty healthy, has healthy fats. Also, you have vitamins and minerals that are fat soluble. So even when you use olive oil to make your salad dressings and you put some lemon in there, you actually increase your body's absorption of iron and different minerals and vitamins that needs fat to break down and digest those foods more effectively. Someone says, I lost volume. It says back, okay. Someone says, can you address the GLP-1 at another time? Yes, GLP-1 is coming. It's very new thing that has been taking our world by storm. What I can say as a precursor, the most effective way and the most healthy, long-lasting way to lose weight is to go on a plant-based diet. Okay? Go on a plant-based diet and eat your food at regular intervals. And we want to talk about a digestive class in the future. And eat your food at regular intervals. And just give you just a summary of what our digestive class will be like is eat at regular intervals. And also don't eat between meals. Space out your meals about 5 hours. Okay? All right. Okay, so now when you do oil now as well, talking about the oil again, you don't want to fry. You don't want to fry your foods. That's going to make your food become those free radicals. Free radicals are basically, you have those molecules that, every single molecule, cell in your body, they have they come in pairs with the electron. The electron comes in pairs. So then a free radical is basically, you don't have a double electron. You have a single electron. So when the free radical goes into your body, because it has a single electron, it becomes reactive, right? It reacts to the cells around it. So like let's say you consume those fried oils, right? That is like, let's say seed oils that is more susceptible to heat. Like let's say olive oil, it's when it reaches smoking point, it becomes a free radical, basically very toxic to your body. When it tries to go into your body, it says, hey, look at this cell right here. It has an electron. It doesn't have the extra electron, remember? So it zaps the electron from the cell in your body, and that cell becomes unstable. And then that cell, because it doesn't have the extra electron, it says, hey, let me take that extra electron from somewhere else. And it causes like a chain reaction. The cells or the different parts of your cell begins to take the extra electron in different areas. And it causes, that's what we call, oxidative stress. Unless there is an antioxidant to neutralize what is happening. Okay, and antioxidants are the opposite of the free radicals. So free radicals steals the electrons in your body, causes your cells to become unstable and causes damage to your cells, which can lead to cancer, and also damage your arterial walls, which can lead to high cholesterol and plaque buildup in your arteries and so forth. All these different things there. And the opposite of that is the antioxidant, which an antioxidant has an extra electron to give. That means it doesn't become unstable when it can give an electron. So if it sees a free radical, the antioxidant can, the free radical will take the electron from the antioxidant, and then it neutralizes that free radical. So antioxidants, foods are basically plant foods high in antioxidants. So it neutralizes the oxidative stress that is going to happen in your body. But then what happens when you consume a lot of free radicals and you don't have antioxidants? Your body can also produce an antioxidant. You breathe in also, and you can breathe in antioxidants, especially when you breathe in fresh air. You can also breathe in free radical air as well. That's for another time as well. We talk about this here. But just consume lots of fruits and vegetables, which is high in antioxidants, and that can neutralize some of the free radicals, and reducing the free radicals, which is your oils, fried oils, and also the hydrogenated oils. Those oils that are not cold pressed, which has been extracted using high heat methods, that changes the chemical makeup of your oil. Those things become unhealthy. What about cold pressed avocado oil? Yes, I would say any oil that you get, you want to have it be extracted using cold methods. That's what cold press is. It's extracted using cold methods. It's not using heat. Heat is not applied in the extraction process. Okay? So heat is not applied in the extraction process. All right. Any other questions before we close off today? Any other questions? We talked about a lot of stuff here as well. And for those who want to come to our center, again, in the description of this video, we have the link that you can come to our lifestyle center. People come for 1 week, 2 weeks, or 3 weeks. They come to our center and they go through a whole program. So the whole juicing, detoxing. Also, we have cooking classes. We have lectures just like this here every single day at the lifestyle center. So if that's something that you're interested in, feel free to sign up. Look at this description below, and you can sign up for coming to our lifestyle center as well. so you can get more attention with this program. We also have our Heal at Home as well. So if you want to, help with your sickness at home, we also have those type of programs too. All the descriptions are in the link below. Okay, so if we don't have any more questions, we can probably end off today. In the future, what I want to do here, I want to actually have a whole live stream on questions and answers. So that will be in the future. I will probably ask it in the WhatsApp group, ask people to submit the questions. And also during the live stream, we'll take a few questions as well. So just look out for that in the future. We'll have just a class on just answering all your questions for you during our live stream. So as we end off today, I just want to end off with a word of prayer that the Lord can be with us. Some of you are in the process of healing right now, and some of you are probably hurting right now, and you want an answer to your illness, and some of you just want to live a longer, healthier life. And I want to pray with you right now so God can give you the strength as you decide to make a change. Is there anyone here right now in the chat who's saying, you know what, I want to add more plants to my diet, or even I want to go on a plant-based diet? Let me see a yes in the chat right here. If you're saying, I want to go on a plant-based diet, I want to eat healthier, put a yes in the chat for me. I want to pray for you specifically. I want to pray that God can continue to guide each and every one of you here on the chat here. Some of you might be sick right now. I want to pray for you as well, that God can help to bring about healing in your life as you decide to make some healthier changes. All right, so let's pray. Heavenly Father, Lord, thank you so much for your blessing. Thank you for all your guidance today. Even as we've gone through this whole class, we discussed a lot of things, and it's a lot to digest. I just pray that you may be with everyone, be with their mind, and help them as they decide to make better choices and better changes in their life, the Lord, that you may continue to bring about complete healing and restorations in their life. I pray that God, Jesus, the great physician, will be there by their bedside, wherever they are right now, to heal and restore, whether they have inflammation that they're going through, whether they have blood pressure, diabetes, cancer. Lord, so many different issues people are facing today in society. But there is an answer, there is hope when they can just change their lifestyle around and put some healthy foods into their body, that you can bring complete healing and restoration to them, dear Lord. So I pray that you may give them the power to make the choices that will bring healing to their body, and all the healing only comes from God. So as they put the right things in, that God, you will bring about healing in their body. This is my prayer in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, so I will see you guys next week. Hopefully, we'll see how that goes. But we'll let you know. I will keep you updated on when we go live again in our WhatsApp group. For those who have not joined our WhatsApp group, again, in the description of this video here, you can be able to join our WhatsApp group for the description of this video. All right, so I will see you again, and we'll let you know exactly when you go live stream. We'll try to see if we can go next week live stream again. See you guys, and have a blessed